hosting you here today on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Martin Luther King Jr. is a national day of service, which is defined each year as Americans across the country step up to make communities more equitable and take action to create the beloved community, a community in which everyone is cared for, absent of poverty, hunger, and hate. While Dr. King believed the beloved community was possible, he also acknowledged and fought for systematic change. His example is our call to action. MLK is the only federal holiday designated as the National Day of Service to encourage all Americans to volunteer to improve their communities. During the last quarter century, the MLK Day of Service has grown and its impact has increased as more Americans embrace the idea that citizenship involves taking an active role in improving our communities. I'd like to provide a number of special thanks today. First to the Human Rights Commission, to Twice as Smart, to the Historical Society of Greenfield, to Interfaith Council of Franklin County, the MLK Forest, the Asheville Congressional Church Chorus, Marjorie Hines, Kwame Harris, Empress Menu, Kate Mason, Nina Keller, Mary Ciano, Carol Inman, and Gloria Matlock. I'd also like to thank Senator Joe Comerford and Colby Gorner-Levine, Regional Manager for Congressman McGovern, for attending today. Special thanks to Geraldine Boudred for providing lunch, and our audio-visual staff, John and Alex. Again, thank you to all that have helped make this possible. Now it is my honor to introduce GCC business student Empress Menu. She is also a commissioner on Greenfield Human Rights Commission, a member of the Franklin County Rotary Club, a Community Reinvestment Act analyst, and community outreach officer for the Greenfield Savings Bank. Empress facilitated Greenfield's first annual Youth and Cultural Juneteenth celebration and is currently planning its second event. She is also a member for the BBBSFC and has a passion for youth and youth programming, advocacy, and the unhoused here in Franklin County, as well as Black-owned businesses in Franklin County. She was also the marketing manager for the City of Greenfield and GCC's Goods Pop-Up Shop. During her free time, which as you can imagine isn't much, she enjoys spending time with her family, including her 3 children and fiance David. She believes her family is what keeps her going because she wants them to understand these things. Nothing in life comes easy. Hard work pays off. A positive attitude brings about positive change. But you will be tested. In those times, keep the
one, like myself. He's from Virginia.
Woo!
A country guy. Like I'm a country girl. You know, that Southern hospitality. 2, he was the executive director of the Brick House in Turner's Falls, and he accepted his position during the beginning of COVID, which is an example of how he doesn't run away from the fire, he runs towards it. 3, he has written a book called Pushing the Generations Forward, which he started writing in 2016. In this book, he outlines the steps and tells his personal story of how he overcame personal trauma, lack of confidence, and self-esteem to achieve success. This was his way of reaching back to empower a generation of youth and minorities to grant them the tools to overcome their own life challenges. 4, what once started as a personal mission where he himself was on the front lines, he has now trained hundreds of adults to work with youth gangs in the street using CBT, which is cognitive behavior therapy. In 2022 alone, he trained over 500 adults. 500 in 1 year. Mr. Harris also believes in running to the gunshot, meaning the trauma and generational curses, by saying no more. And finally, Mr. Harris simply yet profoundly states, and I quote, "I owe it to my ancestors, our ancestors, to push this generation forward, just like our ancestors and my ancestors pushed me forward." Thank you. And now I am honored to bring to the platform none other than Mr. Harris, this year's Greenfield Community College Martin Luther King 2023 Honorary Speaker. Thank you.
Said you will be tested.
What's up, y'all?
Thank you.
Yeah, we're doing it. So, I want to start by first getting to my shout-outs real quick and my thank yous. I first want to shout out Empress, who is Virginia native, country raised, and we spoke multiple times and just great conversations. And she's just like family to me already. And then when you're in Greenfield, you see someone who looks like you are family. I also want to shout out Judy. Where's Judy? Where is Judy? Hey Judy, way back there. Who just due diligence, make things happen easily, and just made me feel welcome from an email. Like, how do you make someone feel welcome from an email? Judy did that. I also want to thank Greenfield Community College, President Michelle, wherever you are, and the folks on the committee as well, who helped put this thing together. See Michelle, see you and all those folks in there. I appreciate y'all. I say it's been like 2 years since this event has taken place, right? But we're still holding true to the tradition, and I appreciate you all for doing that. Got a couple more shout outs, I promise, and I'll get into my speech. I also want to shout out my brother and his fiance, who came all the way from Virginia, my twin brother back there. If you get on an airplane and come here, I gotta shout you out, right? That's gotta be a thing. And then lastly but not least, y'all, I want to shout out my beautiful, can you give up my beautiful wife? My rock, who calls me her walking her sheep sometimes, and so, thank you for being here. But I also want to give the most appreciation to the person why we're all here today. And that's Dr. King, right? And because of him, and because of his legacy, is that better? You hear it? All right. But because of him, y'all, and because of his legacy, I was able to stand on this stage and be with you all here today. And I don't take that lightly. Such a great man, someone who reminds me, in spite of the stabbings, in spite of all the protests, in spite of being thrown in jail multiple times, and the multiple threats, he stood in the gap for people who look like me. And to me, that is pushing generations forward. In fact, I also think about something Dr. King also thought about as well, as he was thinking about our ancestors. And the people who came before Dr. King, the people who survived slavery, people who survived Jim Crow, who survived the Civil Rights era, and also the people who died in slavery, who died in Jim Crow, who also died in the Civil Rights movement. And I'm appreciative of my ancestors. If you know anything about me, Empress Sonny, talk about me a little bit. I am all about giving honor and giving praise to our ancestors. So can we just for a moment give a clap or praise or whatever we're going to do this moment for the folks that came before us that allowed us to have a better America. I didn't say perfect, but a better America. Can we give it up for Dr. King? my book, I started 6 years ago. So I need an example of someone who's a great example of pushing generations forward. Because I wanted to get the message out, I wanted to get it out clearly. And I was like, I could use Dr. King. I was like, that's easy, right? And there's a lot of other people who stood with Dr. King in the civil rights era that we could highlight in this moment. But I always went back to Dr. King. I said, well, there's ever a great example of pushing generations forward is Dr. King. And so, if you read the book or read the book, you'll know that I use Dr. King a lot in the books. And the reason why is because throughout his entire life, he spoke about his entire civil rights career. He spoke about a better America. He spoke about what he was doing for the next generation. He even talked about it in his most famous speech. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. That is pushing the generations forward. That is what his work was all about. And so I had to use Dr. King to come to pushing generations forward. And I use a lot of other people in the book as well, but again, that's something that I had to. And so it's kind of crazy that I'm here today delivering the keynote in honor of his legacy, because I resonate so much with what he talked about, what he said, and what he did. And that's how we got to push generations forward, and which is about finding purpose in the next generation. It's also about understanding that everything that you do matters for your children's children. The direct quote comes from that. And so, that being said, the idea of pushing generations forward didn't come 6 years ago when I started writing the book. It actually came when I was 8 years old. Now, I wouldn't say I coined the phrase pushing the generations forward at 8 years old, but the idea or the concept in itself happened at 8 years old. Now, I will say that is not a picture of me at 8 years old. So I understand that. I couldn't find one. I don't know why. I couldn't find one, but you get a cute little picture of me and my twin brother, who was also in the room. So, the door was there. Right, we're door, right? We're door. Okay, all right. So, yeah, I was like, they don't know that's not me at 8 years old. I was like, that's weird. But the idea or the concept of pushing generations forward happened. I can distinctly remember the night it happened. And I was raised by a single mother who was also with my grandmother as well. We were in Virginia. And we had an absentee father. My father was involved in our lives. But my mom had this boyfriend who, for lack of better words, drug addict. And so we understood at 8 years old what drugs were. We didn't necessarily see the drugs, but we understood what the effects of drugs and what they did to someone. And so my mom's boyfriend, most Friday nights, would get paid, and he would ease out the house across the street into what we knew to be the drug house, or the dope house, is what we call it. And when that happened, me, my brother, and my sister knew that was going to be a tough Friday night. We knew that. There's a accustomed to it, and it's just what we grew up with. But there was one particular night that this idea came up because there was one particular night that happened. There was one particular night that I said no more. So, my mom's boyfriend comes in the house, just like every Friday night when he got paid, and he would sit on the couch and look around, very paranoid. I can remember the scene, I can remember it vividly in my head. Eyes very paranoid, blinking back and forth, looking back and forth. So paranoid that someone's in the house that wasn't supposed to be in the house. And when he would do that, you can see see myself, God will bring me that moment, so to come up. And then that one night, he gets up, and he picks up, what's it called there, a box cutter. And he walks around every single room, and he starts to stab the closets. No one's in there, but in his mind, they were. He goes to every room, stabs the closet, checks, makes sure nothing's there, paranoid eyes are moving back and forth. Then he gets to our room, in our brother's room. My brother that day, I guess he was like me, like no more. And he gets to my brother, to our closet, and my brother said, no, you're not going to go in my closet. He's 8 years old. Step against a man who was high on heroin at the moment. So he pushes him out of the way. And then when he goes to stab, my brother wants to work again. And he cuts my brother and back in his ear. I'll never forget that moment because all I saw in that moment was my brother having blood gushing out of his ears. And this man who was strung out on drugs at that moment with a box cutter in his hand. That's all I remember. My brother went to the hospital. Thankfully, it was just the stitches. It was just one of those things where, we were able to survive from. But I said, you know what? My children will never have to go through anything like this ever in their lives as long as I'm alive. It made me mad. And at 8 years, think about this, at 8 years old, I had to develop a mentality that nobody in my family will ever have to go through this. Think about the trauma. I'm not saying that, because I know there are plenty of people in this room who have gone through trauma. And as I was writing Bush Generations Forward, I had that in mind. But not only speaking to my own trauma, but trying to speak to other people who live through trauma. And also remember a couple days later, where that same man who had cut my down his ear had to lay on his lap and get his stitches and put one on his stitches. And all I saw was my brother laying in his lap, and I was angry. I think my brother was angry. At 8 years old, he developed a feeling of a hardened heart in that moment. And I understood what I had to do. And that's where pushing generations forward can be played. There are a lot of things there's a lot of things about the King, but also what I've learned when it comes to pushing generations forward. A lot of things happen. A lot of things that, as I've gotten to this journey, because what we see now is an end product. But a lot went into this. A lot of my own life struggle went into this. And so there are a lot of things that pushing generations forward taught me. And I also got the King and what his example for this nation. And the first thing is, being the first is hard. Being a pioneer is hard. And then literally, as you develop the mentality that I'm going to do what's best for the next generation, you don't really know what you're saying. All you know is it needs to happen. And so as a first generation college student, I didn't know that for 2 semesters of my college career, I was in the car. Just so that I could make sure that just because I couldn't afford room and board, but I couldn't afford just to go to classes, but I couldn't afford room and board. That was hard. I'm not asking for pity. I'm not asking for to give a sad story, but one thing I had to get across in pushing generations forward is it is not going to be easy. I think with Dr. King, he had to have known that it wasn't going to be easy. And when you're the first, if you're thinking about developing the mentality of pushing generations forward, you got to think about, and you got to be able to have that grit and resilience in that moment that no matter what happens, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure that my children's children never have to experience what I had to experience. That same drive Dr. King used when he gave his I Have a Dream speech has to be the same drive that you do that we all do in our lives to make a better America. We're never going to be perfect, but we want a better America. Now, we good? We good? You okay? You okay?
Yes.
The next lesson, or the next thing that, or I guess a lesson that I learned is I always wanted to secure my spot at the table. I was at a Black History Month program at my church a couple years ago, and there was a Frederick Douglass birthday who came into the room. I didn't know it at the time. Don't judge me. I didn't know at the time, but I didn't know he was Frederick Douglass. And I kind of laughed at him and said, "What is this guy? Who does this guy think he is? Frederick Douglass?" And then he got up and said, "I'm Frederick Douglass." So, I don't feel very smart in this moment. He goes on. I think this is the one speech that changed my life. He goes on and delivers what was a 4th of July to a slave. And he did not miss a beat. And if you know or seen that speech, that is a long speech. But he delivered it so well. And at the end of the speech, he asked everybody in the room, especially young kids of color, "Where are you today?" I'm like, wait, you just gave that big speech and you leave it at that? Like, where are you today? And he asked, who do you want at the table making decisions about your life? Where do you want to sit? You want to be on the agenda, or you want to be on the agenda, or you want to be at the table? I said, wait a minute. For far too long, there have been people who don't look like me, who don't think like me, who don't share the same experiences as me. They've been at the table, making decisions about my life, making decisions about other people's lives, and they're not even there. So I say, you know what? I'm going to secure my spot at the table. Because I'm going to be the person at the table making decisions about my life. I'm going to be the person at the table helping improve the communities that look like me. They experience the things that I experience, that send us into the things that I've experienced. And so, as we develop the mentality of pushing generations forward, and as we think about the community approach to this, that's why it's important to have representation at the table. Because of those wide range of understandings makes a very powerful, very, very powerful community, which in turn makes a very, very powerful nation. But also, I think another lesson that I was taught too is healing is necessary. Me and my brother, we talked about that incident. On the way back from the airport. It took some healing. So I can imagine how people get stuck in the cycle of trauma and the effects of trauma. It is hard getting out of it. But if you want to take on the mentality of pushing generations forward, you got to understand healing is necessary. And no matter how much I was mad at that person, no matter how much I experienced the abuse every weekend, every night, I have to forgive that person. Because if you don't, you'll never be able to disrupt the cycle of trauma. Because what will happen is in some way, somehow, that cycle of trauma will slip into your own personal life in ways that you never thought. Part of pushing generations forward is recognizing my trauma stopping the negative behavior or cycles around trauma so that I don't pass trauma on to the next generation. It's all for our children, right? This is what it's all about. Why are we all here? Like, we want a better place, we want a better America for our children. So everything that we do in our communities, in our homes, on social media, wherever, everything that we do matters for our children's children. I don't even have children yet, but every move that I try to make is for my grandchildren. I don't have children. That's the mentality that we have to develop so we can move our country, our nation, our community into a better way, where there is no racism, where there is no oppression, where there is no bigotry and homophobia and all those things. And then lastly, y'all, as I close, I think we'll time. I think close there, right? Okay. All right. Keep going. All right. Last one, I promise. Dr. King delivered his speech, one of his last speech. I think we call it Benson Valentine's speech. And he said something that always stuck with me, especially to think about pushing generations forward. He said, simple, I may not get there with you. It's so powerful because as we think about the next generation, and think about when we think about children and children, a lot of the fruits of the labor that we're trying to put out, you will never see. Dr. King never saw it. He never saw this. He never saw the celebration of Juneteenth. Never saw any of those things. But he understood that he had to keep working for a dream that he would never see. And so as you embody the concept of pushing generations forward, understand, you may never see the fruits of the labor, but we need to. We need to keep going. We need to keep fighting for injustice. We need to keep fighting for equality, because our children's children are dependent upon it. And so I'll leave you all with this. There are many young people who are developing that mentality, rather than the 8-year-old mentality I have. And I hope that we can continue encouraging them, we can continue empowering them, and we can continue to do the right things so they can have a chance in this world to live out the King's dream to the fullest. We're on our way, and we have our work to do. And so I just want to say, please continue to empower folks and young people, and keep doing what you're doing in this community. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
If you all sing this one, this is like the hardest song in the world, but I'm sure you can help us out.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. It's I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, the principal, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, which is something that we really like to go by in our lesson, and we're quite smart. Okay, the first one we'll do is Kujichagulia, and you'll see what it means afterwards. And the word is in the song. You'll see what it means. Okay, the next one we're going to do is called Kuamba. The next one is called Moja.
Unity, yes, we someday there will be no more slavery in any country.
I have a dream that all government will just disappear.
I have a dream. My dream is a good education for everyone, take care of animals, no more racism. People should have a place to live.
I have a dream that people will take care of the earth. I have a dream that there is no more violence in the world, for the world to be more clean, no more racism in the world, people to feel safe in their schools, and for people to have roofs over their heads and food on the table. These are my dreams for the world. I have a dream. My dream is there should be equal education. Black people should be treated good. The black people should be allowed anywhere in America without getting harmed. There will be peace, love, kindness everywhere. I have a dream. My dream is that everyone will respect us Native people and give us the credit that we deserve just like everyone else. I have a dream. My dream is for everyone to have food, a house, enough money, and no more stealing. I dream for no more kidnapping. I have a dream for no more practice, no more violence. Children can be safe at home.
I have a dream for no more cracking, no more violence, and children should be safe at home.
I have a dream that people should treat people how they want to be treated. No more wasting water, no more kidnapping. And my last dream is for all people to understand that Black Lives Matter.
Hi everybody, we're very happy to be here. As you can see, we haven't sung in this spot today. And
Louder, please.
is this on? Can you hear me?
No.
Okay, we're really happy to be here today. As you can tell, with a little bit of figuring out things on the stage. We haven't sung on the stage yet, but it will be, they can sing anywhere. They're wonderful. They just,
Louder,
some of them just met each other today for the first time, and you'll really like it. When it comes time for We Shall Overcome, I'll try to shout out which verses are which so that you can beat along with us. Thank you, and I think I'm supposed to turn this off. Yes? We Shall Overcome, I can actually give you a little idea of what the verses are. There's so many that can be done. We shall overcome, the first verse. We'll go hand in hand. We shall live in peace. I've got many on my page. And then we turn to We Shall Overcome. Thank you. You're a great audience.
shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll go hand in hand. We go hand in hand someday. Breathe in my heart. I believe we shall hand in hand someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. Amen.